frantically shuffling their papers, getting ready. Tanya Bryant and Peter Lloyd, they are taking us through Thursday's newspapers. The pick of the stories. Welcome back.
Thank you, SJ.
Tanya, we're going to talk about this story in The Telegraph, and this was news that our city editor, Mark Kleiman, broke exclusively yesterday. And city leaders, it seems, are refusing to sign a letter backing the government's stance on Brexit.
That's absolutely right, yes. It was a leaked paper. Sky News got hold of it. And basically, the Prime Minister went to FTSE 100 company executives and saying, please, will you support our Brexit plans? We need your vote of confidence going forward. And they were refusing to sign it, which is quite interesting because you would think they would need to or would have to support the government's stance. They're saying, actually, no, we don't have to. We want to wait to see what's going to happen. They want to wait to see, of course, the other leaked paper we talked about today was on migration. They want to see what's going to happen with EU workers, what are going to be the caps or not caps on that. So they're actually going against and saying, no, we're going to wait.
It's quite interesting, Peter. When I did see this last night from Mark Kleiman, I did have a wry smile because I thought they're probably the CEOs of big companies because they know not to sign anything or they've read the small print.
Exactly, no one wants
It's
to.
it's obvious. And also, you know, although no one wants to play footsie with Theresa at the moment.
I love that. That was actually from the Mirror.
No, it wasn't. It was my
Rumble.
No one wants to play footsie with Theresa.
But, you know, you have to take this with a pinch of salt because when the EU referendum was happening, more than 300 business leaders signed a motion that supported Brexit. And, of course, even Mark Carney, you know, from Bank of England, he was, a big member of Project Fear and forecast these terrible gloom. And actually, you know, there was economic growth after Brexit. So all of these concerns, I think, we need to take with a bit of reservation.
But they did support Cameron in the 2015 election.
Okay. Right, Peter, take me to the Mirror. A lot of the newspapers are centring on this interview that the Conservative Jacob Rees-Mogg gave yesterday, saying he is against any type of abortion, even if a woman is raped.
Yes, so relatively controversial comments. He made them in an interview yesterday. He is, of course, a staunch Catholic, and these views are in line with his faith. Now, of course, everybody is very upset and outraged about this because it is a very sensitive topic. I appreciate that. But we have to remember that these are his personal religious beliefs.
And they're not just his views. A lot of people have those.
Absolutely, and a lot of women, crucially, share these issues as well. And I always say this, I posted a tweet yesterday that said, would the media and would we be this outraged if this were a Muslim MP making these comments? The views he shares are matched by many Muslims.
Yes, I think they would, Peter, and I think the point here is that, understandably, those are his religious beliefs. That's what he believes in. But how much then would that inflict on his actual political beliefs? And if he were running the country, how much would that translate?
Well, that's it, isn't it? And Peter, should he not be commended for standing by his views, however distasteful they may seem to a lot of people? I think it's in the Daily Mail today. Sarah Vine is saying she disagrees with him as a woman. However, he's standing by his principles. How many politicians do we criticise for when we are asking their personal views, they avoid the question? I mean, Tim Farron couldn't escape questions about his religion throughout his leadership of the Liberal Democrats.
Yeah, precisely. And we pride ourselves on being a nation of diversity. But strangely enough, when it comes to diversity of thought, which is perhaps the most important form of diversity, people lose it. It's a sound state of affairs that he can't have an opinion which is separate from his policies.
I think he can have an opinion, but I think it will actually impact his policy, and that's the whole point. How much would it impact? But he is being applauded for being honest. He was asked a direct question and he gave an honest answer.
And if he is being touted as a potential leader of the Conservative Party,
we need to know.
People now know
we have to know.
So there you go. You know what you're getting. Tanya, Hillary Clinton in The Guardian.
Oh yes. So she's come out. There have been lots of books written about the campaign. There was one very good book I read called Shattered, and explained, you know, what happened within the campaign. Where do you lie the blame? What went wrong?
Was that how tired she was after the campaign, or was that the glass ceiling? I can't quite work it out.
The glass ceiling. But this is actually in her own words. She's coming out. The book's coming out next week. what happened. Now, she does take responsibility, and of course she has to, and lie blame with herself, and she does do that. However, what she does pinpoint is Bernie Saunders not being a true Democrat.
Who she betrayed.
Yes, and she also, of course, puts the blame on the emails. She says, quote unquote, I was dumb to do that, but she felt the timing of that was actually against her. And interestingly enough, too, she felt sexism played a huge role in her failure. And just finally, very quickly, on the last day of the campaigning, she was there with Obama. Obama gave her a hug and he said, "You've got this."
Well,
Well,
turns out not so much.
Never trust that. Don't trust that last day when someone says that to you.
Peter, you've chosen a story from the Huffington Post online. 1 in 8 people are skipping meals just to get by.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting story, actually. So apparently the state of British workers, they are earning such low salaries that they're actually trying to skip lunches to save just a few pounds every day. Apparently that is how desperate the situation is for most workers. That said, I think we need to see it in context because this comes from a report by the TUC. And let's face it, the TUC aren't going to publish a report that says workers are all happy and content, are they? So
yeah, but Peter, if that is the case and they can't, then we have to take it seriously. And with everything else going on, the crux of the matter, people can't afford meals, then really
prices of food are going up, wages are not. Tanya, Peter, thank you for the moment. We're going to take a quick break and we'll have more stories for you after that. Through Thursday's newspapers, and Peter, it's quite expensive to buy a pint now, but we have found the most expensive place in the UK.
You had to go and try them all out.
this is a lifetime's worth of research into this
I
story.
know.
I'm amazed you made it in this morning. Well done, you.
Staggered in. No. So if you're planning a weekend getaway and you fancy a pint this weekend, do not go to Surrey because apparently that is now the single most expensive place to buy a pint, even more expensive than London. The average pint is apparently £3.20 in the capital and it's £3.40 in Surrey. But if you want to get a good deal, it might be worth getting on a coach, popping up to Yorkshire where it's only £3.20.
Oh, make a weekend of it. Okay, there you go. That's the most expensive place to buy beer. Sorry if you live in Surrey, nipping down to your local. That's going to be costly. Tanya, I love this story. This is in the Mirror. It's in a lot of the pages today, newspapers today, and it's the Guinness World Records, the weird and the wonderful. I do love it.
It's just fantastic because you just think, what are people going to do to get into the book? It's been going since 1955. It sold 138 million copies worldwide.
Used to get one every Christmas.
Yes, it makes a lovely Christmas present. And now the new one launching for 2018. Here we have, look, we've got a bunny rabbit and he's into the record books for the most slam dunks. You've got a lady from China that's got the longest eyelashes. But look, Esther, the nails, the longest fingernails.
It's the nails that get me. They're at the bottom. Can we see that? Just going down. There it is.
The longest fingernails in the world. Look at that. How does she wash the hair? We don't want to ask.
Well, we saw her earlier on picking up a cup of tea. She uses the nails as hooks and then goes around like that. It's a great.
What if she points at you?
Take your eye out, that's what happened. Tanya, Peter, thank you so much. We'll see you again in the next hour. We're going to take a look at the weather now. Record-breaking storms across the Caribbean. A little bit more settled here, thankfully. Isabel has the details.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.